Okay, yes, I'm a poor YouTuber, but I know a lot about singing. Okay, I had this on my old channel that YouTube decided to remove, and I'm going to say it again. I started singing when I came out of my mother's womb. As soon as I learned how to speak, I was singing. I mean, it surprised my mother. It surprised relatives. They said, Bobby sings all the time. I just love singing. That's what I did. I sung. I started out in a boys' choir through the YMCA. I was a soprano and did sing some little solos. At that time, in a boys' choir, it wasn't very difficult stuff. I moved on, and pretty much when I got into junior or elementary school, I picked up the saxophone because I thought it's pretty cool being a saxophone player. You get chicks doing that, right? Now, I didn't know if it got girls or not then. Music became part of my life, and it still is. I really got into singing again at Hargrave Military Academy. When I was there, I was in the band company playing the saxophone, but they had a glee club. When the director heard my voice, told me straight up, I want to use you as a soloist. And I sang a lot of solos. At that time, it wasn't that big a deal, After that, I basically did just singing. I did some singing in some bands. I've played my saxophone in bands. I've little stuff. None of the bands ever amounted to anything. It was just for fun. I did a lot of serenading my voice in girls' ears, slow dancing. That helped a lot, if you know what I mean. It wasn't really, I took voice. The first teacher I took voice, I can't remember her name now. She was a vocal teacher or a voice teacher at Central Piedmont Community College and taught piano, I believe. And I took vocal lessons with her. And I had a very good, strong tenor voice. And the thing that I always tell any singer, you have to develop your diaphragm. You really need to develop your diaphragm. That's where all your power comes from, is your diaphragm. Your vocal cords are already there. You know you can sing, but you got to have your diaphragm developed. Took me a while to develop my diaphragm. I did a lot of exercises. At Central Piedmont, let's see, I got to go back. I'm sorry, guys. I'm jumping all around. My brain, like I said, I've got ADD and I'm getting old. I went to Wingate College, which is Wingate University in Wingate, North Carolina. I went there as a vocal. My mother wanted me, she wanted to groom me to be a teacher, a music teacher in school. I'm not good at math, so when it came down to music theory, I messed it up terribly. I was awful with music theory. Awful. So, really what happened with voice then, and so I'm sorry my eyes are real dry. It's getting to be almost 9 o'clock in the evening, and I'm trying to make this to kind of try to tell people my musical background. At Wingate College, I never forget my director who had sung in the New York Metropolitan Opera. He was an opera singer. He was the director of music at Wingate University or college at that time. I sang a solo in front of peers, kids my own age. it's kind of like what I was telling, I got to put some eye drops in my eyes. They're really bad. What it did was, like I was talking about Karen Veazey, I defeated myself before I even opened up my mouth. I already had defeated myself. I was hearing those old negative things my dad had told me when I was young. I was flat. I was missing notes. It was awful. And the kids were laughing. That was it. I was done. I'm serious, guys. I was done with singing. I was never going to sing again in front of nobody. Period. Nobody. And I didn't. Now, I mean, I would be at a party and we would sing something and I'd sing along with them. I'd sing hymns, stuff like that at church. But I basically, my days as a singer was gone. It was over. I was never going to sing again. It was humiliating to have your own, and these were high school guys getting ready to come into college, and they're laughing at me. And I do remember, after that, my choir director started coming after me, or the director coming after me. I left them. I went and got my car, and I took off. I came back to Charlotte. I was in bad shape. My mom said, "What's wrong, Bobby?" I said, I was humiliated. I swore I'd never sing again. Ever sing again. So I went to Central Piedmont Community College, and I came across a lady that taught choir. This girl I knew had told her that I was a tenor. If you're a tenor, you can get in the choir just like that, because there are always so many basses but not enough tenors. I got into the choir there and I was singing, and the director said, "You got a very nice tenor voice." She said, "You've gone through training?" I said, "Yeah, I've had vocal lessons." And she told me, she said, "There's a position open at Myers Park Presbyterian Church." Now, when you talk about Myers Park in Charlotte, North Carolina, it's money, 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 money. I mean, the people that went to church there were wealthy people in Charlotte. I mean, owned businesses, tycoons. I mean, I drove up my little Toyota Corolla, and I was seeing Mercedes, Lexus, all these fancy cars out there, and I was like, but anyway, she told me that there were the director was looking for a tenor section leader, paid. I thought, why not do it? Why not? I think being paid is a cool thing. I mean, you know, anytime I could make some extra money. I remember I walked in, Robert Stegall. Yeah, Robert Stegall. Yeah, that's his name. Anyway, I remember I walked in and we shook hands, and he took me into the church. The church, now you got to understand, at that time when I went to church, I went to tiny churches. This was big. I mean, big. And I walked in there, and we went to this room where there was a piano. And he said, "Okay, what I want to do first is I want you to get warmed up." So we did scales. And basically what he was checking to see just how high and how low I could sing. At that age, my bottom register in my voice wasn't as good as it is now. I've got a great range, but I haven't sung in so long. I just retired from it. I got tired of singing. But he wanted me to do tonal memory. Now, tonal memory to me is not that big a deal. I mean, I can hear a song and a year later sing that song note to note without any music, without any notes played. So what he'd do is he'd say, okay, I'm going to play a series of notes. And he'd go, do, 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 do. And he'd stop. He'd say, okay, now what I want to tell you a little bit about this position. And he explained some of this stuff to me. He said, okay, now can you sing that back to me? And I did. Sing it right back. He said, great, good. And then we moved into sight reading. I'm awful at sight reading. My heart was, and I was like, oh my God. I tried so hard to sight read. I did. I tried so hard. And I did fair. And I don't know, he had me sing a piece. And it was an easy piece. It was a piece that I'd sung probably 1,000,000 times. Because he wanted me to bring a prepared piece anyway. It wasn't no big deal. And my memory's not all that great. So, after I finished all this, I figured, just like that girl that defeated herself, I thought, there's no way. I was ready for him to say, I appreciate your interest. We won't be able to use you as a tenor section leader. But if you would like, you can be in our choir. He sat there and told me, he said, let's see what we can pay you. I was like, what the? Pay me money? Sure enough, I got hired by Myers Rock Christian Church as a tenor section leader. I did that for 12 years. My director and his wife, Ann, beautiful couple, some of the best music people I've ever known. And the cool thing about it is that I remember Ann, she was such a sweet lady. Ann told me, she said, Bobby, you have a great voice. You're a great tenor. You just need to have some more confidence. My problem was I didn't have confidence in my voice. I was scared to sing in front of people. In a choir, it wasn't that big a deal. In a quartet, it wasn't that big a deal. I did a lot of quartets. Robert, basically, the director of the choir, pushed me into doing solos. I remember my first solo I did, I messed up on some notes, and all of a sudden I could hear my daddy going, you're no good, you can't sing, you messed up, you're no good, you can't sing. And I remember I was sitting with my head down. My director came up, patted me on the back, and said, man, that was great. I enjoyed that. That was a great solo. Here's a man that graduated from Juilliard, guys. Juilliard, now mind you, a graduate of Juilliard, telling me that it was a good solo, and I was like, wow, thank you. So from there, I began to do more solos, and then I got involved with the oratorio singers and did solos with them. I got involved with this and did solos with them. And after a while, I was able to do solos and do quite well because I've developed faith in myself. I developed the ability to know that I was a good, solid tenor singer. I got out of this mode of this person's better than me. No one's better than you but you. You may hear somebody else that'll out-sing you. It doesn't mean you can't sing. It doesn't mean you can't do as good a job as that person did. I learned that. It took me years of working on that to learn that. That's what I try to put on young singers. I try to tell them it doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter what other people are singing. They may be better than you. So what? What does that have to do with you and your voice? You're unique. You have a unique voice. I have a unique voice. And that's what I always say. You've got to develop faith in yourself and your ability. If you don't have that, you're wasting your time as a singer. Give it up. Sing in the shower. But if you want to be a singer and be good at it, you got to believe in yourself and you got to believe in your ability to do it. It's just like anything that you do. Did you go to college? Did you go to elementary school and high school? Why? So that you could work your way through the grades to better yourself and to learn. It's exactly the same thing when it comes to singing. You have to develop your voice through lessons and coaches. And I mean, you work on it and work on it hard. There's a girl called Carolina Prasenko, a violin player, who has put so much effort and time into playing her violin. That's what I want you to do with your voice. Spend that time to develop your voice. Get positive affirmation messages in your mind at all times. Never ever think negative. Never ever say I can't do it. Never ever say you can't do it. Set your dreams high and achieve those dreams. Peace out, guys, and thank you for listening.